In 2013, Sony introduced the Sony HAP Z1ES, a high-end digital music player, music server and storage system designed for audiophiles and music enthusiasts. Kind of think of it as an audiophile full-size iPod for your system that can also serve as a music server on your network. It can even rip your CDs if you attach a compatible CD drive, converting it into the perfect resting place for your CDs, as well as a masterful DSD file player. With Sony being Sony, as they always seem to do, they quickly abandoned the product before the awesomeness was even discovered by the mainstream. A half-hearted action by Sony management, in my opinion, probably to huge disappointment for the development team that clearly designed a work of love in hardware and software. As you will find out in this video, all the basic stuff is done really well in this underrated unknown music player. The Z1ES has a little sister that is a small integrated amplifier with the HAP built in, called the S1. This was presented years ago on the TechMoan channel. I will link to that review right here in the description. Sony discontinuing the HAP platform so fast was a real pity, as the platform had huge development potential in my view, and it was quite a joy to use. The Z1 player itself sounds incredible and actually deliver way above its price class. So, why is it interesting to talk about a dead digital product that was left to rot by its careless makers? Well, the HAP Z1ES has a lot going for it as a audiophile music source and has a couple of unique tricks up its sleeve, offering music discovery features no one else has. So in this review, I will show you the pros, the cons and the pitfalls of ownership that you need to be aware of. It could still be the perfect match if your needs fit the bill, but there's also things that might be catastrophic you need to be aware of if you want to buy such player today on the used market. So let's first get the price out of the way. I have seen prices starting from around 500 euros on places like eBay. While new, I believe the price was around 3,000 euros. The unit came with either a 500 GB or 1 TB, double the size, internal drive, but it can actually work with a 2 TB drive. It might be a great idea to replace the spinning 2.5-inch laptop drive inside with the SSD drive. It will make the unit way more responsive if you have a lot of files on it. In this unit here, there is a 1 TB spinning disk drive and it's almost full, so it runs a bit slow sometimes, as you will see. So let's quickly look at the holes in the cheese, all the stuff that it won't do. It won't stream from anything but Spotify via Spotify Connect. It can't be used as an external DAC, unfortunately. There's no AirPlay, there's no Google Cast, and it won't play higher resolution files than 24-bit 192 and DSD 128. But what it can do is playing most formats up to high resolution 2492 kHz and DSD 128. It will produce wonderful sound that I haven't heard quite like it from any other DAC before or since. It will do Spotify Connect, so if you're a Spotify user, it might be the best DAC you ever had. It will also connect to TuneIN radio tuning service and store favorites from there. It will analyze and divide all your stored music into SensME categories, which gives you a whole new way of discovering your music based on feeling instead of algorithm-based, more of the same genres. It can also rip CDs directly with a supported drive that probably needs to be powered externally. It can store up to 2 TB of music internally if you have a 2 TB drive inside, and an additional 2 TB externally. But be careful with the number of files. My experience is around 20,000 files is about the limit. I really like using the HAP Z1ES. It's friendly and easy to use with a beautiful crafted app called HD Audio that can control the player. The included hand remote is very simple and only offers skipping tracks, back and forth, play and pause. And the volume control on it was designed for the S1 integrated system sibling and is not active on the Z1. It might work with the separate integrated amplifier Sony made, but I'm not totally sure. Using the unit from the front panel is great. It's really nice to interact with a player like this. The display is really high resolution and can be really bright and has great contrast. I think it looks awesome and it feels like a real hi-fi component you just want to interact with. Oh, and the weight of this thing, making it feel really reassuring when you push the buttons.
They just don't make them like this anymore.
So let's dive a little further and explore some of the music discovery features that I find to be very special. Look at this app. The color changes based on the cover art displayed. It's fast and easy to browse. You can search or dive into genres, artists, albums, tracks, or simply browse the folder structure. You also have this full browser, which is really cool. You can add tracks as favorites and you can also create playlists. When listening to a track, you can click this little symbol that allows you to find the music video on YouTube, search artist info on Wikipedia or lyrics on Google. You can even try to locate a karaoke version or find cover art if it's missing in the Z1's own Grace Note-based indexing. That is just great and functional and really adds practical value when exploring music. I also love the no-frills integration of those searches that takes you directly to great sources of information. How hard can it be? But wait, there is more, as they would say in the TV commercial, and perhaps the best and at the same time the most heartbreaking thing. A field-based music discovery system called SensME that divides the music loaded onto the unit into channels based on feel. The Z1 uses a special analyzing algorithm to divide music into those channels. This may sound very basic, but it analyzes the actual music based on tempo and tonality, meaning that you get very far away from the brainless suggestions you often find on streaming services that would typically just deliver you
more of the same.
But what if you are a broadly based music lover like me who listens to everything from classical to dubstep and much more old and new? What I'm after is much more of a feel, a mood. I'm mostly laid back and I hate when a noisy up-tempo track ruins my balance at the wrong time. With SensME, the music I have loaded onto the Z1 is divided so I can listen to thousands of laid-back, mellow, ear-caressing songs, no matter the decade, genre and so on. In real life, it means that Frank Sinatra can coexist with 50 Cent, Pink, Bill Joel, as filtering is based on feel and tempo. Just look at this random selection from the mellow SensME channel for reference. Those are all lower tempo, mellow sounding goodies despite their very different genres and years of creation. So go check it out yourself. The Z1 is also great with internet radio stations, besides that the Spotify Connect functionality. But imagine if the development team has been allowed to continue to add things like Rune, Cobus and Tidal to this platform. Why, oh why, Sony?
Why? But I ain't mad. It's all right.
The Z1 can be enabled as a media server, providing all the music to any device that supports UPnP, meaning that the music you put on a HAP can be available on your smart TV or any media player that supports UPnP on your network. And even better, it also presents the SensME channels as separate folders. So if you were about to spend 500 euros on some little 1 or 2 terabyte music media server, you could just use a Z1 for this in theory, while also getting a great sounding machine and much more. The sound of the Z1 is actually not like any other DACs I've heard. Even though it can be used as a digital source by utilizing the USB output, I really prefer listening to this pretty unique and very musical sound emitting from the built-in double DAC that has separate circuitry for high-res and DSD. You will hear a little relay click when it shifts between the circuits. Sony has also built-in enhancement for low-res files that can provide some sonic enhancement as well as DVD remastering. To get music onto the Z1, the best option today is just to rip CDs to it directly or connect to it over the network using the SIFS protocol. Yes, it's not impressively fast, but it still works, at least on the latest Mac OS Ventura 13.4 that I tested it with. For PCs, I do not know. Sony doesn't seem to provide updates for the sync tool called HAP Transfer, which was the backbone for the unit, allowing you to easily sync music to the HAP from your computer. And who knows for how long SIFS will be supported. I can't get it to connect using SMB anymore after Mac OS was updated a couple of generations back. All that can probably be overcome. The worst thing, though, for me is the time it takes for the unit to analyze those lovely SensME channels. For my unit, after reinstalling it, it took... I can't even say it. It took a year, okay? A year of waiting for it to finish the analyzing for about 20,000 tracks. All due to the cheapskates at Sony not committing to using external power to analyze the music, like the HAP application, and moving all the work to the little CPU of the Z1. That way, it still works, nobody can complain, but it becomes a joke at the same time. So patience, my friend, brick by brick. You will not get all your music analyzed for SensME in a snap, that is for sure. So there you have it. Wonderful sound, great build quality, delightful to use, great music discovery options, a great app, music server, CD ripping, locally stored music not bound to an internet connection. On the other hand, it's an orphan. But as a whole, it still provides a great experience once you have music on it. If you can live with the few limitations and knowing that someday it might die on you and Sony will probably not pick up the phone, features like SensME channels work, but take an insane amount of time to analyze to a point where it's actually silly. Oh, and is there a way to back up this hard to get metadata, by the way? Of course not. If you reset the unit, you'll lose all playlists, all SensME data, and so on. And I have not been able to find a workaround for that. So that's all, folks. At the prices I've seen on the second-hand market, I think it's a totally underappreciated thing for what it is. And if you can live with its few limitations, you can get a unique sound, an amazing player experience, a CD ripper and music server for very little money out there. Would you like to see more videos like this? Like vintage reviews of great products worth your time even today? Let me know in the comments, and please do share the videos on social media and groups if there's anything you think can be useful to fellow audiophiles out there. Until next time, check out all the other content on the channel and let me know what's wrong with it. See you soon here back on Stjernholm Reviews.